Shalom and greetings, brothers and sisters, and Master Yeshua the Messiah. Brother Nick here, and today is the 22nd day of the 7th month. It's the great 8th day of Sukkot on Yahweh Elohim's 364-day solar calibrated non-gregorian calendar. And the Gregorian equivalent of that date was October 10th when I filmed this video. But now I'm editing this video and it's already October 15th, so I'm a few days late for getting this thing out. I'm in ancient Dedan, which is modern Al-Ula. And this video is regarding the Proverbs 31 calendar. The Proverbs 31 calendar is the 364-day calendar. And it's literally right here in the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verses 17 through 21. And I'm going to be explaining that. Why the 364-day solar calibrated non-Gregorian calendar is the Proverbs 31 calendar in this video. And also I'm going to be talking about the Proverbs 31 challenge. Read a chapter of Proverbs every day for each calendar day of the month. And literally that practice, unbeknowing it to a lot of Christians who take part in that practice, the practice or instruction of reading one chapter of Proverbs a day for the day of the month it is literally hidden and concealed by Solomon in the book of Proverbs. It's literally right here in Proverbs chapter 22, verses 17 through 21. And in this video, I will be explaining that the Proverbs 31 challenge proves out the 364-day calendar, and it disproves the lunar calendar, the lunar solar calendar, and the lunar Sabbath calendar. Because there is not 31 days in a lunar month, and many lunar months don't even have 30 days in a lunar month. Half of them have 29 and half of them have 30. So you don't even get to the 31st day, which would be chapter 31 of Proverbs. And in 6 months of the 12 months of the lunar year, there's no 30th day. So therefore, they don't even get to chapter 30 to do the Proverbs 31 challenge. And the Proverbs 31 challenge is actually an invention of Solomon. And it's right here in Proverbs chapter 22. The practice that Solomon wrote to us right here in Proverbs 22, 17 through 21. Stretch your ear and hear the words of the wise, and set your heart to my knowledge. For they are pleasant when you keep them within you. They shall all be fixed together on your lips, so that your trust may be in Yahweh. And here it is, the Proverbs 31 challenge. I caused you to know today, even you, have I not written to you yesterday and the day before, with counsels and knowledge, to cause you to know the certainty of the words of truth, to return the words of truth to those who sent to you? Question mark. So this is a riddle and a secret message that Solomon wrote a reader of the book of Proverbs. You have to have the spirit of wisdom and understanding to recognize, to understand this concept of what Solomon is saying here. And on a side note, this message right here is a message directed to one person, but it's corporate for everybody. The practice is corporate for everybody. Just as all the Proverbs in Solomon, it's corporate and applies to everybody, but there are specific prophecies in the book of Proverbs that are directed to one person, Solomon's son, who is Solomon's descendant, who is a Messiah. And important to note, Messiah Yeshua was not a descendant of Solomon. He was not a descendant of Solomon, but a biological descendant of Nathan. He caused you to know today. What day? On the 22nd day of the month. Have I not written to you yesterday? That would be on the 21st day of the month. And the day before, right here. And here is the day before on the 20th day of the month, with counsels and knowledge. And here you can see the word counsel, and I'm sure the word knowledge is somewhere in with counsels and knowledge. And you just saw the word counsel right here. So I'm sure knowledge is possibly somewhere in here as well. And yes, there is the word knowledge in chapter 20 of Proverbs, verse 15. There is gold and a multitude of gems, but the lips of knowledge are a rare vessel. So yes, this goes right along with what he said in chapter 22, counsel and knowledge that he wrote in the days before. There's knowledge in here. So what Solomon is saying is there is a Proverbs 31 challenge, and that 31st day for all the women out there in Master Yeshua the Messiah, this should be very special for you ladies and for the men out there, because this is the words of King Lemuel, and it's talking about the virtuous woman. So in the solar calibrated calendar, every month is 30 days. There are 30 days in each month. 12 times 30 is 360. And every third month, at the end of the month, there's an extra day, which is like a 31st day. Proverbs chapter 31. Making the calendar year 364 days. Proverbs chapter 31 is supposed to be read on what would be the 31st day of the month, which happens 4 times a year. This cannot be done on a lunar calendar, lunar solar calendar, or a lunar Sabbath calendar. It can only be done on the 364-day solar calendar. Now, having this read 4 times a year, this coincides with the mourning that you ladies are supposed to be doing, you ladies of Israel are supposed to be doing for Jepthah's daughter 4 times a year. This is Judges chapter 11, 29 through 40, and this segment is regarding Jepthah's vow and what happened to his daughter. But the last verse is the verse that I want to key in on here. And it was a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jepthah, the Gileadite, 4 days in a year. So the Bible doesn't, so the scriptures don't tell us which 4 days. So we have to make this assumption and figure out on the restored calendar what 4 days was this done on. It was not done on the fast of the 10th month, the 4th month, the 5th month, and the 7th month per Zechariah, because the fast of the 7th month is Yom Kippurim. The fast of the 10th month, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th month all have to do with the Babylonian siege, the breakthrough of the siege, and the destruction of Jerusalem, which happened years later after Judges chapter 11. So what I propose, and the only logical placement where you can find a place to mourn or lament the daughter of Jepthah 4 days in a year, would be these 4 days right here, the 31st day that happens every third month. And this goes hand in hand with the Proverbs 31-day challenge. The women would mourn Jepthah's daughter because she, even though, and there's a lot of conjecture on what happened with Jepthah's daughter, whether she was killed, as some people would say, or whether that she was actually dedicated to Yahweh, and there was a burnt offering given for her, and she was dedicated to Yahweh. So that is all about translator supposition. Nonetheless, she was a righteous daughter because she said to her father, do what you have pledged, fulfill your vow, even though it wasn't for her desired interest. Her desire was that the vow was completed to Yahweh. And so that is something to consider, because after her father, who did according to his vow, which he had vowed, and she knew no man. So whether she died a virgin or she was dedicated to Yahweh as a virgin and had a burnt offering made for her, and they would come and come and visit her 4 times a year, wherever she might have been, as a perpetual virgin unto Yahweh. So we don't know exactly how this story went down. There's 2 sides to it. So with that being said, regardless of your opinion of what happened to his daughter, the Israelite daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jepthah the Gileadite 4 days in a year. And I propose those 4 days to be the 31st day of the year, the 31st day of every third month, which is the same day that the righteous women, the women of virtue in Israel, would read Proverbs chapter 31. And this makes total sense because Proverbs 31 is the virtuous woman, and that is a virtuous thing that his daughter did. She wanted her father to fulfill his vow to Yahweh, and that she put that interest above her own, which is a very virtuous thing to do. She was a very submissive daughter, and though it costed her her virginity, and that her womb was barren, and that is something that doesn't stop. It says in Proverbs about a barren womb. It just doesn't stop speaking. So that goes hand in hand with the book of Proverbs, with the Proverbs chapter 31, and that's where I would place the 4 days in a year, not a 4-day block, but 4 individual days that they would mourn or went to lament her. They would go visit her for that specific thing. So that's just something to consider, and this is the best placement, and there cannot be any logical location on the lunar calendar, on the lunar Sabbath calendar, on a lunar calendar to place the 4 days that they in a year that they would lament for Jepthah's daughter, or for the 31-day challenge as per Proverbs chapter 22 verses 17 through 21. So, ladies, women out there, if you're married, specifically to married women out there, you should not be watching my videos. These videos would be for your husband to watch. If your husband shares them, then so be it. But you ladies out there, any lady out there that is married and has watched this video, you should be submitting to your husband on the calendar, and in all matters, you should be submitting to your husband as far as the calendar and any other biblical truths. He should have ruling over what you present to him. It's more important that you submit to him than to be correct in far as biblical truths and biblical matters is concerned. It's more important to be submissive and to allow your husband to lead you, even if he is incorrect or has an incorrect calendar or any other incorrect doctrines, Israelite doctrines, than to try to be correct biblically on biblical matters and to teach your husband and to implement these biblical truths in your marriage. Because it's for the man to do that, not for you. It's for you ladies to submit and trust Yahweh. You can share some things with them, but to rule over your husband in biblical matters is not biblical. To suggest biblical truths and to share biblical truths and suggest biblical truths for him to consider and make a ruling on, now that is a biblical way to handle the marriage and the relationship. But to implement these biblical truths by ruling over your husband, by using your emotions or any other tactics to implement these things in your life because you recognize them as being correct, and he doesn't know at this time or is unsure, is not the right way to do it. Is not the way of a woman in the marriage. Follow your husband's calendar. You're doing right to listen to whatever your husband says and his ruling on the calendar. You can share the information, but you need to follow his lead and submit to your husband on these things. And for everybody else out here, this is just additional proof that we are supposed to read a chapter of Proverbs each day and do the Proverbs 31 challenge, and that this can only be done on the 364-day calendar, because the lunar calendars, it just doesn't get to here ever. It will never get to here ever, to chapter 31, and half the months of the year don't even get to chapter 30. So I hope that you're blessed by the understanding here in this video. I hope that you consider this calendar. It's also the Psalm 19 calendar. It's the solar calibrated calendar. The sun comes out, goes into the house, and comes out as a strong man to run his race. So I hope that you're blessed by this information in here. All praise to Yah, Hallelujah, Yah. And I'm signing off here from Alu'ala. So shalom and peace to my brothers and sisters, Master Yeshua the Messiah, who have his testimony and guard his commandments.